Hamza bin Laden, actual, is not alive. He is dead.
My friend Sarah Adams, who says that Hamza bin Laden is still alive.
The U.S. intelligence community, and even trying to curb the Brits, saying Hamza's not alive, don't talk about Hamza.
Did they tell you where he was killed?
I mean, both things could be right.
Hamza bin Laden is alive is disputed by officials. So we wanted to go into this, and we were talking off camera about my friend Sarah Adams, who says that Hamza bin Laden is still alive, that he is the leader. He's basically over all of these terrorist organizations which have united. Then she went on to say that the I believe it was the UK government also reported through their intel agencies that he was alive. Now I know you have a different opinion on this.
Yes. Hamza bin Laden, actual, is not alive. He is dead. However, I do not dispute the fact that someone calling himself Hamza bin Laden, perhaps even a bin Laden cousin, is doing all of that. But Hamza actual is not alive.
How do you know that?
He is dead. Because I have asked multiple people who would know that I trust, and they have told me unequivocally he is dead.
Did they tell you where he was killed?
Yes, and I don't remember right now. I know that's a cop-out, but it's real.
When was he killed?
Man, 2019, is that right?
Why do you think the UK government is saying that he's alive?
I mean, there's clearly someone calling himself Hamza bin Laden that is like organizing a lot of bad stuff. And I don't dispute that. I just think, like, do you remember in the Princess Bride, the Dread Pirate Roberts, that there were like multiple, when one guy would retire, there'd be another guy that came up, and now he was the Dread Pirate Roberts. Mm-hmm. And you're just kind of like living off of that infamy. That name is so powerful and is a brand in and of itself. And therefore, someone's using it to rally the terrorist troops. But no, I will say, like, he's dead. But yes, there are serious concerns about a person calling himself Hamza bin Laden who's organizing some very problematic and troubling things.
Oh, that's an interesting twist. That seems like a very realistic scenario.
I mean, both things could be right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How do you think the Afghan withdrawal went?
Not well. Not well. It was a catastrophe, and we are still living with the repercussions of that today. Very much so. I got pulled into one of these kind of civilian groups, like veterans and former DoD civilians, and I found out later also active duty folks in special operations who were coordinating with us when they were not supposed to be, but God bless them. Someone reached out to me right when things started to get chaotic, and a lawyer friend of mine, and she had a client who was just trying to get into the airport, trying to get out. Could I help? So I don't even remember who I reached out to, someone, and someone I thought might know something, and they added me to the Signal chat group that took over my life for weeks. And I know a lot of people had those kind of experiences where all of a sudden I just dropped everything that I was doing. And I do know people, and I have my own network, and actually was able to help a couple of families that DIA families, actually, Afghans that were working for DIA, that had worked for DIA for a long time, and were being abandoned. And amazingly, because of the people on the ground and what they their heroic efforts, their willingness to work with us, they saved a lot of lives. So, but the things, even sitting in my living room, on Signal, just being part of this, I mean, it was so weird because I did feel like I was there sometimes. There was one family we were trying to help. I want to be careful because I don't know what happened to them, but they didn't make it out. I know that. It was a father and some kids, and they were, it was so hot those days, and people were waiting outside for days and days, like passing out, babies dying. And there was this particular man who had worked for us and was trying to get out with his kids. And there was someone on the wall, like a PJ on the wall looking for him. And we had already, given everyone, you say this, he'll say this, hold up. He had a sign that had a word on it. He was holding up the sign, and he was right outside. They were right outside of Abbey Gate. And I have a picture of the man and his two beautiful children right before the explosion happened, and we found out later one of the boys was killed.
Oh man!
And that wrecked me. Like for a while. Just looking at that little boy's face, and like it was so close. They were so close, and we couldn't get anyone to open the gates. There were all these, we're like, oh, send them to the black gate. Oh, send them to this gate. And they would get there and there was no gate open. There was no one there to open the gate. It was so much chaos. And then the civilians, there were Americans trying to get out. They were also being given this bad information. People were supposed to help them and they weren't. So they were getting information from, people in my group. And they were getting beaten by the Taliban badly. They were getting their U.S. blue passports taken from them. And, I thought your interview of Sergeant Tyler Vargas Andrews was so powerful. And I want to thank you for that and to thank him because there are so many of us who were at home that day just trying to help, and that feeling when that explosion went off, when that guy clacked himself off and 13 service members, it breaks my heart to this day. I had the opportunity to meet some of the family members, and I can't imagine, I have, again, my two brothers served in the Marine Corps, and there, but for the grace of God, it was so pointless. It was so unnecessary. And that was how we left. And that's how the world saw us leave after 20 years of blood and treasure. And so it also was such an encouragement to global jihadis globally. We lost the GWAT. And they know it. And we just haven't admitted it to ourselves. That's the accountability that we still need. We need to be able to say that we lost, and we need to understand why.
No matter where you're watching Sean Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.